So I'm so excited for today's webinar. As the legislation was changing through the spring on cryptocurrencies and banking regulations, I definitely saw that this was going to be something we needed to get more educated on ourselves. Even if it's not something that we ourselves want to participate in, we're going to get questions from clients. And the more knowledgeable we are, the more intelligent we can speak about it, obviously is going to be a retention tool for us being able to have our clients trust us that we are keeping up to date on the current economic climate and investment strategies and the like, so we can at least speak intelligently about where things are going. Lisa, as I posted in our local brokerage group, I'm like, the future is knocking on the door, and if we're not ready to participate in those conversations, we are going to lose some of our client base, especially the younger generation who's participating in this future more so than we are. So we've got to stay up to date because the next wave of buyers is coming. So I definitely knew this was not my wheelhouse of strengths. And so it's not our strengths, we need to delegate. So I've delegated to Piper Moretti, who is joining us today with her lovely face there. All these people with their initials on the screen. I hate that. Zach, thank you for showing us your lovely smile as well. I'm a people person. So I'm so excited to welcome Piper Moretti from the Crypto Realty Group. She's amazing. Her resume speaks for itself. If you haven't checked her out, definitely check her out after the webinar. But she is part of NAR, not part of NAR, but she does advise for them in various capacities. She's been featured in many publications, including Forbes magazine, and she did I believe, the first Bitcoin transaction on record in California. Is that true?
Well, technically the second. It was
Oh,
the
okay.
first in Southern California. Yeah, and I
Okay.
still have yet to talk to the people that did it up in Northern California. So I don't know. So,
It's still pretty
yep.
cool. Trailblazer, if
It's
nothing else.
pretty cool. Yeah, yeah.
She's definitely an authority and definitely more knowledgeable than me. So I'm excited to be really not the trainer today, but the student today. So it's a fun role for me to enjoy on today's session. So I will let Piper take it away and
Oh
teach
my
us
goodness.
all about this emerging technology.
Okay, well, I'm going to attempt to share. Let's see. Gonna do this. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
My monkey desktop here. Okay, let me get this and present. Okay, let's get that. Okay, great. I have lots of pictures, so it's going to be really easy for you guys. I hope. I don't so like I said, yeah, if whenever somebody has a question, Danielle has permission to just completely interrupt me. Because I get on a roll. But just some backstory. Yeah, I completed my first Bitcoin transaction in 2017. We closed in January of 2017. And at the time, Bitcoin was, I think, $1,200. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've missed the boat, right? And I had such a steep learning curve. This uh, buyer randomly found me online, wanted to buy a $3.2 million house in Manhattan Beach, California. And he said, I'm going to buy it with Bitcoin. And I thought, okay, this guy's either completely nuts or he's serious. And he was dead serious. And he showed me what was called a wallet. And I'm like, okay, great. I don't know what that is. So I really had to learn. I mean, thank goodness he knew that, all he needed was a realtor to say, yes, I'll help. And that was me, thank goodness. But yeah, steep learning curve. I called my lender and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's got, $6 million in Bitcoin. I don't know how to translate this to a house. Help me here. And he goes, just have him cash out and season the funds. And that just wasn't an option. He was ready to buy right then and there. And we were on a very strict timeline. So we figured out a way to convert the Bitcoin during the escrow process. And that is key. And I'm going to get into that later. So we went on to do, gosh, we did four altogether with that particular buyer. And then word got out that I was doing this. I thought I thought people had it figured out. Um, Turns out no. And I spoke at a blockchain group in New York when they heard that I had done this, and when I told them I had done four at the time, people were coming up to me like, "Oh my God, I didn't know you could do this," and and that just kind of like catapulted like, my reputation and, oh, she can do this and what, and that was kind of the start of this whole journey that I've been on for the last 8 years. And it's been ebbs and flows. There've been bull markets and bear markets. I think this is the third cycle that I'm in, and I know the trends now, and I've got a really great handle on the clients, and that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here to do for you, is to kind of give you an overview of who the clients are, what the market's doing, what the difference between, blockchain and crypto are, basic stuff like that. So you can have these conversations when these people find you. So the key takeaways, like I said, basic understanding of crypto and blockchain, the market, getting to know clients, how the crypto transactions are really done. I speak with a lot of realtors here, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've done a crypto transaction." And I said, "Oh really? Tell me about it." "Well, they cashed out, and then they seasoned the funds, and then we bought it with you." I'm like, "Well, okay, that's not sure if that counts or not, but okay, great." So and then skills to get your crypto game on. So I don't know Teams very well. So can like somebody can you guys let me know like who is actually like an investor and who is just completely new to this concept? I can't see anything else besides my screen. Is that something you might be able to tell me, Danielle?
In terms of,
Well, I mean, can people raise their hand in
oh,
Teams and just like
um,
let me know like who's an investor, who's like completely new, or like if it's like maybe put it in the chat or something.
You can raise your
yeah.
hand. There's a
Okay.
raise your hand button.
And again, I can't see
Yeah.
anything besides my screen. So, oh, here we go.
I
We
do
got
have
one.
a raised
Okay.
hand. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got
Okay.
someone typing.
Right on.
Someone just started investing in crypto this year.
Nice. Okay. And it's okay if you're brand new. That's what we're here for.
Yep. I've definitely never invested in it. I know enough to teach it at a high level when I teach finance. That's it.
And that's fine. That's totally
Yeah.
okay. So John Oliver, I love him. He's got a really funny segment on Bitcoin that he did a few years ago. But the Bitcoin is everything people don't know about computers combined with everything they don't understand about money. And that could not be more true. But so crypto high level, it's a digital money that runs on a decentralized technology, which is called blockchain, allowing people to send, receive, store value without relying on banks. So what that really means is all the banks have a central server, right? If I send you a Venmo, it's got to go through my bank, make sure I got the funds in there. Then it's got to go through your bank, and then you get it in maybe a day or two. If I send you Bitcoin or Ethereum, it takes minutes. If I send you XRP, it takes seconds because it doesn't have that middleman to go through. It's decentralized. So it's got it's like sending it's like 10,000 people watching me give you $10 in Bitcoin and watching and verifying that, yes, Piper gave Danielle $10 in Bitcoin. And that's again, high level, what decentralization and what I'm about to get into. So this is how crypto works. There's not going to be a test. But it's, again, blockchain technology. It records transactions in a secure tamper-proof ledger, and it links these transactions together. So think of a Google Sheet or several Google Sheets that are connected with maybe 2 or 4 megabytes worth of information, and then it's linked with a verifiable hash that you can find those blocks if you were searching for them. And then the transactions and the mining, I kind of touched on that. Sending and receiving crypto, there are nodes or computers that verify these transactions and say, yes, that is true and correct. It came from this address to this address, and this is how much money was transacted. And that leads me to public and private keys. Not going to get too far into this, but my public key is the public facing address, and then my private keys are what I use to access my crypto. to dive in just a little bit deeper, I get this question all the time. So what is the difference between blockchain and crypto? Think of blockchain as the highway, and it's the infrastructure, and it supports many use cases. It's a really cool form of record keeping, real estate, identity, supply chain, name it, anything that keeps records. That it can be transferred to a blockchain for more secure record keeping and decentralization, where anybody can access this. Title is a really good example. You can have a blockchain without crypto. You don't need it. It's only one use case. Digital assets, there, I looked it up today. There's over 17,000 cryptocurrencies out there. Some are great, most aren't. But we usually deal with Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDC, or USDT. USDC and USDT are tethered to the US dollar, so that mitigates the volatility. They're built on top of blockchains, and you can't have a crypto without a blockchain. So again, you can have a blockchain without crypto, but a crypto has to live on in a blockchain environment. So here's the market snapshot. And again, these numbers are always fluctuating. The market cap as of today is $3.76 trillion. BTC dominance, which is Bitcoin, it's about 60%. So it rules the market. So when Bitcoin goes up, all the other altcoins, an altcoin is anything that's not Bitcoin, they tend to follow. The Bitcoin price this morning, when I checked it an hour ago, was around 118,000. All-time high was just a couple of days ago, because apparently this is crypto week in Congress. It went up to almost $123,000. And I thought I was behind when my buyer was, buying it in 2017 at 1,200. Yeah, so increase from just a year ago is 153% about. So the last bull market, we're in one right now. We are on an upward trajectory right now. And it comes about every 4 years. So the last one, first-time home buyers, 12% use crypto. Most of those, I'm going to guess, probably cashed out. Maybe they had enough for a down payment. Maybe they had enough for an entire house. Who knows? But this was the younger set of a younger generation for the most part. And that translates to about 240,000. It's a very niche market, but it is growing exponentially, and it will continue to grow in the next year or two. All right, so this is the recent legislation. I'm not going to get too far into the weeds with this, but this, like really recent, just in the last few months, the FIT21 bill, broad market structure, clarifies regulatory roles, focuses more on defining digital assets. This has been what we've needed for years now. Like, what we need more clarity, because the more clarity we get, the more institutional adoption, and the more people who are going to be trusting this type of currency. And then we go under the Clarity Act, which kind of it goes hand in hand with FIT21. And the key thing with that, it helps determine if a token is decentral enough to be treated like a commodity. So we've got the CFTC, we've got the SEC. What's a security? What's a commodity? And that's going to be very, very important. And then we got the Genius Act, that is more of like a stablecoin specific bill. In reading this, it's looking like Congress is leaning more towards having USDT as the digital currency for the US. And that could be really cool, especially when it comes to escrow, because there's, we have the good funds laws. If somebody does pay in Bitcoin, we still have to pay out settlements and everything in fiat USD. So if there's like mass adoption in USDT, there's going to be more mass adoption in just about everything else. So that's just going to blow it wide open, I think. All right, so why even bother? I get this question a lot. There is a new era of investors. Danielle mentioned that, and I'm so glad you guys are ahead of the curve. Millennials are the largest investor group. A lot of them do not have traditional bank accounts. I get calls from people who get paid in crypto and they want to rent and they don't know how. We're actually set up to do that now. Even a couple of years ago, we weren't able to facilitate those. A lot of them have newfound wealth. As banks continue to fail, interest rates climb, crypto becomes more of a hedge. Like I said, crypto is converted during the escrow process, and I'm going to get into the weeds here in just a little bit. Wallet to wallet is preferred sometimes. I personally have never done a wallet to wallet, but I know people who have. And my title company says, hey, as long as it can be recorded in USD, we don't have a problem with that. There is a traditional finance crossover. My lender, actually several lenders, but mine in particular does count crypto in the portfolio to boost the assets a little bit. You still can't lend on it, unfortunately, but maybe that'll change. It's easier and cheaper to obtain to trade and obtain loans. Some people prefer a collateralized Bitcoin loan where they don't want to necessarily get rid of their Bitcoin, but they can lend on it and they can get 50, 60, 70% LTV. They can do whatever they want to with that, and that's not a taxable event. All right, so here's your client profiles. High net worth. About 71% of high net worth individuals have invested in crypto or are holding crypto and they're able to pay in full. I've got 2 crypto buyers in escrow that are all cash right now. I'm loving life. Got the dabbler. Some investors, and I get called. This really means a lot in Southern California because prices, as you know, are very, very high. They might have enough for a down payment and they're not really sure how to make that work. And then we got this whole new generation. They may not be paid in USD, sometimes paid in crypto. They don't have traditional documentation. They grew up with the internet and they're not going to wait 3 days for an ACH. They don't even know how to do a wire transfer. So, you got to know how to talk to these guys. Okay. So onto our crypto escrow. Now, I don't know how they do it in Pennsylvania there, but title and escrow in Southern California are separate. That's it's slowly changing. But so I work with an escrow company. It's called Guarantee Escrow. They will work as a sub escrow to any other escrow or any other title company in the US. So you don't have to worry about this. You don't have to think, oh my God, I have to get my title company on board. I would say if you get one of these guys, if you get one of these buyers, call me, call them. They can facilitate this. So they specialize in enabling real estate transactions in crypto. Crypto must be converted to USD. I mentioned this before, prior to closing in a crypto to cash transaction, and even in a wallet to wallet transaction, because again, settlements, we have to pay in USD. And I have Guarantee is the company that I work closely with. We're actually kind of front of the funnel for them as well. We vet these people that come in, tell them yay or nay. I'll get into that in just a second. But as a broker, I have a broker controlled escrow company partnership with them. So any seller that I have, I can run it through my broker controlled escrow, and I have just a little bit more control that way. I'm not sure. Do they allow for broker controlled escrows in Pennsylvania? You have any idea what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we don't do the same escrow process.
Okay.
That you guys do. It's just a title company.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a little bit different, but it's totally doable.
Yep.
So it is all above board verification, conversion, completion. It's done in accordance to every single rule and regulation out there. So it's all on the up and up. So why this matters? Again, rapid growth, and it's just going to explode in the next year or so. Extra security and compliance. You don't want to be doing this on your own. And the cool thing about Guarantee is that they're backed by a BitGo partnership. We were using BitPay there for a little bit. It was a little clunky. They were expensive. We still have them on the back burner just in case. But BitGo, I encourage you to Google them. They are insured up to 250 million. They're no joke. They're the biggest one in the business. So bonus for brokers, at least in Southern California, I get the listing commission. I get a little portion of the escrow. And then I get a little bit on the conversion if they decide that they want to convert into Bitcoin. So Kevin, my seller, we just listed his condo back in, I think we closed in April. He wanted Bitcoin. Now he was in Irvine, California. This is the part of the listing appointment is, look, I know you want to take Bitcoin or whatever coin you want. Chances are finding a buyer that's going to match this property exactly that has Bitcoin is slim to none. So at the end of the day, are you going to take cash? Of course you are. So, and that's what happened. So we found a cash buyer. We went through the whole, traditional listing process, went through escrow, and then at the end he received his proceeds. We then helped him convert those. We have an OTC over the counter partnership that can move funds cheaply and securely, and they can do this. They don't have to do it in tranches like say Coinbase or other platforms. It's kind of a white glove service, and they can move as much as you want, millions. So we get a little piece of the conversion on the back end. So here's the workflow. Somebody calls us, they say we want to buy with Bitcoin. We do a process called KYC, which is called Know Your Customer. And that's on the person. So we send them a link and they fill out a form, upload IDs. We check to make sure that they are who they say they are. They're not from a blacklisted country. And then we do a check on the wallet. It seems like a lot of upfront work. It's not too bad. So what we do is, since these transactions are all on the blockchain, I can look online and see the history of this person's wallet, every single transaction that they've made with their particular address, the public and private keys that I was talking about. We look at that public key and we can see the chain. So we get them on a Teams meeting or Zoom or whatever. We make sure that they have control over that wallet, right? And then we have them sign a digital signature, or maybe send us a little test transaction, $1, $5 or whatever. And then we just make sure that wallet belongs to them, and then they have control of it. And then after that, we verify the funds, make sure that they have enough in there. And then the escrow company issues a proof of funds letter. And you need that to get the offer accepted, right? And the proof of funds letter is actually in US dollars. It's lovely. Then after it's all accepted, for the EMD and the proceeds both, buyer sends the Bitcoin to the escrow's custodial wallet. They then convert that crypto to fiat USD for about a 1% fee plus wire charges. And the funds are wired to the close of escrow, wired to the seller, trust parties, et cetera, and it closes just like a cash transaction. Tax implications. These are the questions I get all the time, especially from buyers and sellers who want to try to not pay taxes. I highly encourage you to download our crypto tax guide. We work closely with a wonderful CPA who helped us with that. It should be up to date for 2025. So the IRS at this time still categorizes Bitcoin as a property. Clients still have to pay capital gains. So if you invested in 2013 and you've got, I don't know, $10 million in Bitcoin, when you buy a house, you're still going to have to pay capital gains. Even if the client does wallet to wallet. I just got off the phone. I actually have a call with a seller who asking me 8 different ways how she can save on taxes if she accepts Bitcoin. It doesn't matter. You cannot escape this. You can defer, you can defer in opportunity zones. You can do a 1031. Again, we're not tax professionals, I say get a good CPA. That's it. Tax harvesting is a great option. Again, CPA. I know a great guy who does a deferred sales trust. That's a great option, but they've got to have $1 million in capital gains. And then again, the collateralized loans are not taxable events if they want to leverage and not spend their Bitcoin. All right. These are the calls I get to. So we have a great agent checklist. I'm going to go through some of the red flags and green flags after this, but I highly recommend you download this. If anything at all, download this because it's going to save you a lot of heartache and maybe a call or two. So buyers, I've seen just about everything. They have some junk coin. They insist with paying, for the house, and they just refuse to verify identity or the funds. I have this great coin. It's amazing. I can't show it to you, but I'm going to buy with that. I honestly do not know what their end game is. Like they honestly think that they can pull one over and like get a, I don't know. So it's crazy. So they'll send you bogus screenshots. I've seen so many bogus screenshots. It's insane. They may ask you to move money for them. I got a call a couple of years ago from a broker in Florida. She had 20 years on me, been in the business for 30 years or something. There was a person who was talking to her on WhatsApp, said that he was very famous, had a lot of money, wanted to remain anonymous, but he wanted to buy a multi-million-dollar house in like Palm Beach or something. And they befriended this person, and she's asking me for guidance, and I'm like, it sounds like a scam to me. And then I get another call from her. Well, can I move the money for him? No, that's money laundering. You do not want to do this. And she just didn't like the answers I was giving her. So I hope that she chose well. So the sellers refuse to verify ownership or identity. I mean, it's your usual due diligence. If they don't want to turn on their Zoom camera, don't waste your time. So look, if it sounds fishy, it is. Go to CoinMarketCap, verify the coins in question, look at the market cap, how it's trading, where it's traded. They're going to have to convert, like, if they've got some special coin, like I have a ton of altcoins that I invest in too. And I know I can't pay in those. I would have to convert it to Bitcoin or Ethereum. I think Guarantee has actually done one in Dogecoin. So something that's, tried and true, well known, they're still going to have to convert. All right, so green flags. They're concerned about privacy, but not too concerned because they're going to have to come out from the veil, come out from the curtain at some point and let us know who they are. They're willing to provide ID, legitimate documentation. They want to understand the process. How much is this going to cost? What hoops do I have to jump through? They're asking the good questions, conversion details, tax implications, all that stuff. They demonstrate knowledge of sending and receiving large amounts. They're willing to provide their public addresses. They're concerned about custody. And okay, well, once I send the crypto, who's going to hold on to this? How does this work for me? Red flags, kind of went through these already. The altcoin, it's got a new or low volume, unwilling to provide ID, claims to manage their own keys. Oh, I can't show you anything. I can only give you screenshots because of whatever reason. Excel spreadsheets, like I said, I've seen it all. They want to send you crypto. No. They only want to communicate through WhatsApp. They love WhatsApp. That's the first thing. If I get a call and they say, oh, and it could be on my cell, and they're like, you know what, I really do prefer WhatsApp. I'm like, oh yeah, well, it's our policy. We don't communicate via WhatsApp. They try to befriend you, and this was a NAR article, I believe, just in the last few days. They try to befriend you and get you excited about how much money you can make, and they talk you into giving them money. Don't do that. And then they claim they're famous, high profile, all that stuff. No one cares. All right. So if you're brand new at this, not investment advice, but I highly suggest getting onto Coinbase and opening up an account and then just invest like $5 in whatever coin. And just watch the market. That kind of keeps you engaged a little bit. Learn the behaviors of crypto and how it coincides with the stock market. Stock market could be really down one day and crypto could be just going sky high. It just depends on what, again, what's going on in the news, what's going on in the market. Did Elon Musk say something stupid? Whatever. And so like, what's your favorite coin? I love CoinGecko. Because I've got coins kind of spread out on different platforms, and CoinGecko is a really great place just to get all your coins in and just watch them on one app. And I check it a very unhealthy amount during the day. So, and then also read the news. Cointelegraph is really great. Bitcoin News is awesome. Web3 Daily and The Myth of Money. Those are really great newsletters that put everything in plain English. And it breaks it down. You don't have to be a tech head to grasp the concepts. And I think that's it. So I do have a crash course. We've got 30% off right now. I go way into the weeds. It's about an hour. But anyway, it's there for anybody who's interested. And I think that's it. And I'll take questions.
Hey, that was pretty awesome.
It was a lot, I know.
Yes, it was definitely a lot, but we needed a lot. So questions, throw them in the chat or speak up.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is there a particular blockchain that you recommend? Because right now I'm using Coinbase, and I was told that that's not necessarily the safest.
Well, so really you're looking for like an exchange, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what I would do, Coinbase is the most regulated. It is, for all intents and purposes, safe. But I wouldn't keep any more than $1,000 on a public exchange like that. And I would make sure that, your username and password are airtight. You've got the 2FA, you've got all that. I've been hacked, and this was years ago. I was naive enough to think that, who am I? Nobody's gonna, hack me. They did. So what I would do, if you're heavy into it, is get what's called a cold wallet storage, a Trezor, a Ledger, a Nano, any of these. I would just Google cold storage and keep it offline. And then, if you need to cash out, if you want to trade or anything, take anything off your Trezor, move it to Coinbase and do your trading there. But don't keep it on exchange. And that's part of the red flags. If somebody sends me a screenshot of Coinbase, and they've got $5 million in there, it's like anybody who knows what they're doing is not going to keep, that much money on there. If they are, they're crazy. So yeah, that's a long-winded answer, but I would just do a cold storage.
Okay. Thank you.
Very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I have a question.
Sure.
I just got into crypto this year. My daughter's the one who's really doing all the research, and it's kind of hard to understand. I'm always thinking in stock terms, and it's totally different than managing stock. But she said she was advised to purchase this card. Now, you might have mentioned something about it before, but apparently this card holds everything. And then this is, I think, where people run into trouble, because this card has a password or a key. And if you lose it, nobody's going to help you.
That's right.
recover
That
it.
is
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that sounds like a cold storage to me. I'm not there.
Okay.
There's so many different ones out there. It's crazy. I mean, my business partner, he's the crypto savant and he knows like everything that's on the market and all that. So yes, that's very important. If you do lose your key, if you do lose your seed phrase, ain't nobody can help you. So what I do is, I have it in like three different places. I have it written down in a safe. I use Aura, which is a password protected, and you can keep all kinds of like information in there. So that's locked down, in the cloud, all that. And yeah, so just make sure that you've got your recovery key somewhere.
Okay. Okay. And I guess the thing about purchasing with it that has me stumped is it changes. Like you could watch it for 30 seconds. It's actually a wonderful pastime. And you could watch it and the price changes. So can you
Mhm.
just basically explain to me how you dial in an exact number when the
Oh.
time happens?
This is the hard part, and there are crypto day traders out there that make a ton of money, and it's just like stock trading, day trading on stock. So, look, I would drive myself crazy, but the like I have one buyer who's just so into the market and who just watches it every day. So when you go on to say like Coinbase or uh, another exchange, or even CoinGecko, you can see the market fluctuations. And a savvy trader is going to know, like they're like, oh, yep, it's trending up, and then it's the peak, and then it's going to go down just a little bit. It's getting that downward wave, before it goes back up again. So they have they call them candles. If you get like a candle graph, it's probably not the right term, but you watch these candles, trend up and then trend back down again. And these guys, they're like, yep, it's gonna trend down, and then that's when they buy. So I have so many other things to do in my life during the day. I just can't watch
Yeah.
it. So I
Well,
turn to James, my partner, and I'm like, hey, what do you think? So it's
well, I'm referring to when you're going to buy a house.
oh, when
Like
you go,
how,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
how do you tell somebody, yes, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to use X amount of crypto, Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, whatever. And how do you know that by the end of the day, you're still going to have that amount of money? That's the
Okay, so
thing that I
that
don't
is a wonderful
understand how that
question.
works.
Yes. So, okay, so two scenarios here. One is a wallet to wallet. Okay. I would never do a wallet to wallet with a seller who doesn't know what the heck they're doing. Okay. They've got to be a savvy crypto investor, because I am not there to give them any kind of advice on what to do, how to trade, whatever. So they have to know that market. Okay. So say if it's $1 million condo or whatever, if I were writing up a wallet to wallet contract, I would say, okay, it's coming from this address. It's going to be $1 million at the close of escrow. And at 5:01 on closing day, that burden of volatility shifts over to the seller. If Bitcoin ends up tanking, you got the $1 million, and but it's now worth 900,000. That's not the buyer's problem anymore. That's one scenario. There's like a hold harmless for all this other stuff. So yeah, we're covered in that way. So crypto to cash, and I'm actually in the middle of it right now, and I had a buyer do this a few years ago. Uh, Saw that down, like when I say Bitcoin was on its way down, or he saw the trend. He's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm in the middle of escrow. I want to get my Bitcoin in and get that converted to fiat USD before it goes down anymore, because he wants to get the most bang for his buck, right? So he transferred, when this was a long time ago. It was like it had been 20,000 and it was going down to 16, and it was like going down and down and down. He's like, nope, I'm going to pull the trigger and just send the rest of the proceeds to escrow, have them hold it for a couple of weeks until closing, and then cash out. My two buyers are doing that right now too. They're like, hey, I think I want to send some more in just to have, and Guarantee can do that. They act as a holding escrow, very nominal fee, but it's to them, it's more like security because, I don't think Bitcoin's, going to go down to 20,000 again, God forbid. But, if it does start to trend down, my buyer is going to be like, no, I want to transfer as much as I can right now, just so I don't have to worry about that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I mean, I that's kind of, I guess, intuitive that that's what you have to do, but it just seems like it's so risky that you have to have a real good padding in the amount you have. Like if you look today and you see you have like 500,000 in crypto,
Mhm.
tonight it could be 450. So you don't bid on a $500,000 house.
Correct. No, you've got to
Yes.
have much more than that. And actually
Yeah.
we do when we have the buyer transfer the funds over, to the escrow wallet, we put that padding in there for slippage or, just in case
Yeah.
it like tanks in the next 10 minutes or something. We have that, and anything that's extra, we give back at the end of the, at the close. But yeah, and there's also, there's conversion fees and all this other stuff. So yeah, we absolutely have them send over more.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Really good questions. I liked that question.
Yeah.
That made a lot of sense to me. Especially on the seller to seller one, like assuming the risk of the actual value. So that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I've seen some articles about there being a possible shift in, what investors decide to invest in, and that these coins or this type of currency could compete with real estate as an investment long term. Do you see anything about that in your
Oh.
world?
Mm, You mean like, well, are you talking about coins that are tied to real estate, or are you just talking about like investing in
Just investing in
crypto
general,
in
just
general?
just the ease of it versus all of the regulation around real estate and the
Yeah.
collateral and all the just that it may compete with real estate for investor dollars going forward.
Well, listen, this is why I love the space so much is because the crypto space is democratized. Anybody can invest any amount anywhere in the world. And that's what I love about it. And I love the blockchain aspect, and I love the fractionalization aspect and just get a little bit of the tokenization. Um, there are some platforms out there that are still standing that and there's going to be another surge of them, I guarantee, that they have a token tied to real estate, and you can invest as much as $50 in real estate, and this opens it up to a whole new set of investors that weren't able to buy real estate before. So there's that aspect as well. But yeah, no, there's a very, very low barrier to invest. So it's that's what I love about it.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions? I think it definitely
I-
gives. Oh, go ahead,
I-
Gene.
Do you dabble in NFTs at all, or
Mhm.
are they kind of a thing of the past at this point?
Oh boy. We're still holding some as a company. We got on that bandwagon. We have like a tiny little office set up in Decentraland. I haven't been on Decentraland in I don't know how long. But not really. I mean, they're still a thing. There's still very much collectibles. The Bored Ape Yacht Club is worth maybe a tenth of what it used to be worth. I feel sorry for those guys, but um, there are other better use cases for NFTs, especially when it comes to real estate, that I hope catches on. But as far as like a collectible now, I don't know. I wasn't really that into it anyway. But yeah, still there. If you go onto OpenSea, there's all kinds of stuff trending.
Right. Yeah, I tried my hand at it and it didn't work out so well. So I was like, I'm gonna just stick to real artwork.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I just don't like you still own a JPEG, you know? It's
Right.
just like, and then and you don't really own it, because it's like, I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but like there's an SPV that has, that has this digital asset or whatever. Okay, what happens when that SPV goes belly up or whatever? It's like do you still own it? So there's just all these like legal questions and stuff. So I don't know. It's not worth it to me.
Gotcha. Thank you for that.
Sure.
Okay. Well, I definitely think there's a lot for us to continue learning in this space. And, if any of you get a crypto transaction, definitely let me know. I'm curious to see how that goes and if we need any, tips or the contact for that escrow company. I can definitely get that from Piper if any of you
Sure.
need that. And see if we can dial that in with our title companies if we need it locally for each of us. Yeah, so fantastic. Well, if there's no other questions, we'll definitely let Piper get on with her day, which is just starting out there in sunny
Just starting.
California.
Yeah, it's a great start to the
Just
day.
starting. Lunchtime for us here on the East
Awesome.
Coast. So,
Great.
well, thank you so much for your time. I know I learned a lot. I'm excited to learn more, and that's always one of the benefits of something like this is, we just get our toe in the water and then we get excited about the idea and it becomes more manageable. So, yeah, thank you so much for all your
Thank you.
information.
Absolutely. Anytime.